Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekly Collective. I hope you're doing great. A little bit gloomy here today in Los Angeles, but we're going to bring the light. We're going to look at this week ahead and hopefully map everything out. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. Good to see you as always. Let's see if the Apollo cam is working. It is. Let's give him a little pat on the head. Hey, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for that kiss. All right. That's my little co-assistant here. And if you're new to the collective, here's how we organize this. I'll begin with some channeled messages. And this is a lot like what I do on some of my dailies, where it's just straight from spirit, basically mediumship. Then we'll go into a 7-day forecast so you can map out this week ahead for those of you that don't watch the shorts. And then we'll look at the elements before getting into a really cool special topic. So stepping into a new timeline. This is something I know very well because one of the cool things about being clairvoyant is to be able to sort of see a potential path and not take it. Or to take one that is showing up that you didn't know existed. So intuitive abilities allow you to create a new path or to embark on something different. You're not stuck. That's why I can read every day, because you're constantly rewriting your timeline. And you are the one that's driving the sort of ship or the chariot. I'm just here to provide some maps and some potential itineraries or destinations. So with that being said, let's get started. Let's begin the trip. Starting with channel messages. All right, so one of the more interesting things that I saw, I don't think this one's ever come through. So I saw someone and it felt like they were on the heels of a breakup. So this is kind of like the stereotypical thing where someone went into the mirror and was like, I'm going to cut off my hair. They started doing it and it was uneven. And it looked great. But once they went and got it completely done, it was really, really cool. But a couple things here with this. Some of you are just ready for a fresh start. And change can be really good. Like sometimes like saying, you know what, I'm going to try on a new color or change my hair or whatever. But the change also on the outside is more representative of what's happening within. And there's something, I think we change the external to reinforce the internal shift or to force us to do it. Because when you do something drastic, like cutting your hair, and I've done that, like this was before I had the channel. Someday I'll put it on a throwback photo, maybe on Instagram, but I used to have very long hair. And one day I just cut it all off and it's been short for a long time. I only wore it long for maybe like 4 or 5 years. But I was younger too, and you can get away with it when you're younger. But I remember the day after I cut it off and, or the day that I cut it, the next day, everybody was like, oh my God, you look amazing. This is so much better. What were you doing before? I'm like, all right, how bad did I look? But it wasn't. I looked good before, but I looked better after. And part of it was because I'd done a lot of internal changes. And finally, the external was starting to connect with it. Because people were saying, you look younger, you look better, you look more vibrant. I was like, all right, guys, stop. But there is something to be said for making a lot of different changes and eventually having the exterior match up with it. And it kind of ties in now to the daily where I was talking about the appearances, right? It's not everything, but it is a part of it. So for those of you that are considering, and when I was looking at that also had to do not just with your hair, but like with marketing, announcements, and just sort of like how you're putting your best foot forward. So I guess Spirit is continuing to reiterate there's a lot of different ways to create change, to make a difference, and to make a splash. So if you want to do it, do it. I'm all for it. It looked good. All right. So the next thing here is, speaking of relationships, for those of you that are looking, what I kind of got was, it wasn't mixed signals. It was someone who, it was kind of like in the friend zone. That's the best way to put it, but they didn't know how to convey that. So if you are putting yourself out there, whether it's for the first time after being in a relationship for a while or you're just looking, if people don't commit, if they don't communicate, or if you're just getting, sporadic responses, they like you as a friend. You don't want to push it. You can tell when someone's interested, and I got very much friend zone energy with this. If you're looking for friends, you can find them right now. That's great too. If you're already married or you're just single and happy, I actually got a vibe that this is a great time to connect and make new friendships. So maybe that's where the focus should be, at least for the next week. To that end, and I think this is maybe why Spirit conveyed this, whatever the new relationship might be, new coworker, new love interest, new friend, don't overdo it with a gesture. So like ease into it. You might be feeling the connection stronger or faster than everyone else, and that's okay. So, just give them the time that they need to move forward. And I think that's it's going to save you a lot of work in the long run. And thank you, Dakota just reminded me, we'll set a goal here in just a minute. The last thing here is, oh gosh, this is so important. And literally, I mean, these words are 3 words, it really covered it. Comedy, masking, vulnerability. I don't even remember waking up and channeling that. That's why when I get up from a dream, I'm like, let me write this down before I forget it. So hiding, like self-effacing humor, making fun of yourself or making a joke just to kind of like get past the awkwardness. I think in this moment, or in this week, we should say, it's important not to rely too much on humor. If there's something that you feel vulnerable about, don't be afraid to express it. It could actually show, it could endear people to you more or allow them to connect with you more. So I know that's hard. It's hard to be vulnerable, but the comedic stuff sometimes comes off as either inauthentic or it just creates a wedge where it could create like a portal. So yeah, Spirit was super specific, like avoid using comedy to mask vulnerability, instead address the issue at hand. Very specific messages. So before we get into the next part, I want to say thanks to everyone that's allowed me to do more of what I just did there. Because for those of you that have followed me since the very beginning, I'll have to go back and look at my videos, but I've always had a catalyst card. And I think after about a year, sometime in that first year, I used to write down a single message on an index card. Then I went like crazy and used to do a whole table of index cards. Then I had like a presentation in the corner, a keynote or PowerPoint where now I just do it free flow because I come up with more things and I don't want to be tied to the written thing. So anyway, thank you for allowing me to continue to develop and experiment with psychic development. That is what this channel is about. And I saw a lot of pushback on the dailies where people were like, stick to the cards, or like, I don't like, and I thought maybe these people haven't followed me since like 2015 or 2019, where I think 2018, 2019 is when we started doing these. So it's always been a part of my channel. And now it's just kind of like growing a little bit more. I'll find a happy medium. I think in the dailies, maybe a split where the first part is mediumship, or sometimes I flip it and I pull a card, but like, let's be open-minded. Let's be open-minded. And by the way, if you like what you see here, since a few people said, I'm leaving you because you're doing mediumship, and I'm like, this is a psychic channel. Show some other people that this is a cool place. Like, share, subscribe, and help me find some people that are in it for like the personal development, the psychic development, the mediumship, as well as the tarot. It doesn't have to be either or, folks. I can pick and choose, and whatever wants to come through can come through. That's how it works. Runes, tarot cards, dowsing rods. There's so many different ways that you can connect to Spirit. Let's not discriminate. We don't like discrimination on this channel. Okay. Off my soapbox. Thank you to everybody that came here. All right, let's get straight into a 7-day forecast for the week ahead. And right after doing this, I'll set a goal for today. Actually, maybe I'll do it now while I'm talking. No, I'll do it after this. I want to kind of keep the flow here, and then we'll do a goal, and I'll figure out what that's going to look like. All right, so let's get started. And again, so grateful for everyone that has shown up for years and has always been a great part of this. So, I've always been, another interesting thing is the channel used to be titled Intuitive Tarot by Nicholas. So I've always read intuitively, and these are just connections to source. That's why they're so powerful. It's like an alphabet. You can read it, but the story kind of goes beyond the cards. So that's kind of how I also hope all of you look at this. You will get to a point if you continue to use cards where you don't need the cards, or the cards become just a part of it. And it's not diminishing this. This is like a key that opens a really deep well of possibilities. And I absolutely love and respect the cards, and they'll continue to be a part of the channel. But I can also go beyond that. That's what's cool about mediumship too. Okay, thank you. I don't know why. I mean, I don't really feel the need to explain myself, but I think it helps people to know that someone said, you don't respect the cards. I'm like, are you kidding? I had a whole lifetime, like a past lifetime where I know I read cards. I saw me looking at a Marseille deck, probably in Paris, and I was part of a traveling company. So this has been a deep part of my spiritual journey, but so is mediumship. All right, let's continue. 7-day forecast. Let's see what's coming through. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself to be connected to your version of the divine. I like to sometimes see a ray of light connecting me to source and then trace a circle of light around my body. Okay, let's begin. Might help if I get these all centered so you can see what's going on here. Okay. Let's get started with the energy for today, and I'm loving what I saw here. A really passionate and empowered Knight of Wands, literally sitting there in front of the fire, connecting with what makes him feel passion or connection. I just mentioned that connection to source. This is a perfect day to kindle an idea. Something that you want to see further development on. So with that being said, what makes you curious? What makes you passionate? What gets you excited about, getting up in the morning? More of this. This is what you should be focusing on today. Brainstorming, ideation, planning. And it doesn't all have to come into an active energy today other than like sketching it out. I mentioned, and I'm used to it and I can go back to sleep like that. But like I get downloads at maybe 2 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Whatever time I get them, I'll wake up really quickly and dictate it or type it out so that I don't forget it, because I actually didn't even remember that last one. When the muses come to you, make sure that you listen and write it down. I know that for my fellow musicians, I'm not a musician, but like for musicians and artists, I was going to say, you receive compositions, you get ideas. I'm a writer, so I sometimes will get characters, or I'll see or hear something. I'm like, I got to write that down. That's going to be something that I need to talk about. So when the muse comes to you, connect with it. For everyone else, this can be an idea for like what you want to do next in your life. Wow, I should really do this. That's not just a passing thought. That's your higher self. That's an angel. That's a guide. That's an ancestor. That's somebody coming through saying, hey, what are you doing? Let's get going on this. So listen to those subtle whispers of intuition that go through your head. That's source. That's real. Okay, let's see what Monday has in store. Monday is the moon. The moon's day, Monday, makes a lot of sense. We have the moon in reverse. So this is about the self-effacing humor, the humor masking emotions, the hiding from the truth, because sometimes the moon is that. In this deck, we actually see a central figure diving deep, going towards the reflection of, fears, anxieties, hopes, opportunities, all the things that are beneath the surface. Dig deeper. Don't create some sort of a facade or a castle wall that takes you away from it. I like the lotus petals or the lily pads here that are showing that when you go through the depths, you come back out with enlightenment. Okay? There may also be someone in your life that's acting without integrity, without honesty, because the moon can represent that. There could be something like a contract that has a catch, has a sort of like detail that just isn't quite right. And in this situation, talk to a lawyer, get the advice that you need, and shine a light on it. That's what the moon does. The moon is reflection, but it's also illumination. The last thing that I get as I look at this from spirit is just be the source, not the reflection. You can hold up a mirror to someone if they're doing something foolish, but in your own light, when we're looking at inspiration and action and whatever, it's just basically saying you're the light, you're the sun in this situation, not the moon that reflects. I love the moon. I'm not dissing the moon, but it doesn't have its own light source. So the way to find your way back to power is to illuminate from within, not to try to reflect. Okay, 5 of Cups. Speaking of reflection, different type of reflection here for Tuesday. We have a paradigm shift. So this person, this is a pretty good illustration of it. They can either focus on could have, would have, should have, the things that didn't go the way that they wanted, regrets, setbacks, or you have 2 cups right behind them. And typically there's a bridge. This is the smallest bridge I've ever seen in one of the 5 of cups. So we can infer from this interpretation of it that getting to the next level is easier than you think when you shift your perspective. And it's not easy. This is a card of grieving, so I'm glad that they show the person going through the motions and the emotions as well. So whatever it is that you need to feel it. But you can also reach out for those 2 cups in the background and allow things to be not as heavy. Talking to a friend, talking to a loved one, expressing yourself. This is the time to do all of that. And it could just be a day during which you may not want to do something really heavy or really important or significant because the emotions are kind of like running the show, okay? We have 2 of Pentacles at the center. Okay, Wednesday. Choices have to be made. You can't please everyone. You can't be everywhere at once. This requires not just discernment, but decisions. So the 6 of Pentacles, which comes through at the end of the week, is discernment. This is decision time. There's a difference. And if you allow yourself to constantly be torn between 2 things, then eventually the rubber band, which is you in this equation, has to sort of like break. So health, patience, focus, or you drop the ball on something. So choose which of these 2 things that you really want to connect to or invest in, and then delegate. You can also push something off. Prioritization is very, very important. And if you're not the decision maker, pass it back. Say, okay, which do you want me to focus on? I can't do both. And if they say, well, you have to, say, you can ask for it, but I can commit to this. And if you want help on this, I have suggestions. Like, give them a chance to prioritize, then give them options and say, you decide. How would you like this done? You can still kind of co-pilot the ship, but if you're not the decision maker, they'll have to make the final call. And I'm also getting a message to keep it in an email for those of you that are working, or a text, so that you can go back and say, this is what we agreed to, okay? You'll be fine, but choices have to be made. From a financial standpoint, at the midweek, I think it's going to be really important to also be a little conservative. Budgeting is important. Priority lists are also going to help you out. Know what your focus should be and stick to it. All right, we have another emotional day coming up on Thursday. It'd be interesting to look at the astrology of the day, but the 3 of Swords representing not always like the most fun, but like sometimes we just need to know that something has come to a close. Like, this didn't work out. I don't like this. It's that little straw that breaks the camel's back, but not as much as like the 10 of Swords. A disappointment or a setback that helps you put your energy into something else. The next card in this suit is 4 of Swords, which is like resting, sleeping, releasing. So it feels like you're getting close to this. I love this version of it because the center sword is actually a needle, and we can see the seam there that's going on. So you're actually starting reparation. You're starting to heal the heart. And part of this is just deciding, this doesn't make me feel good. This person, this job, this habit, whatever it is a greedy energy. It takes more than it gives. And sometimes we need that final disappointment or trigger to say, I've had enough. So pain can be a teacher. I mentioned that it doesn't have to be the only teacher, but it can be a teacher. And so we say, thank you, pain. Thank you for your illumination on this matter. You're no longer needed. You can exit stage right. All right. So Thursday, be kind to yourself. Avoid major negotiations or discussions. You really want to make sure that you're focusing on the internal healing before you step into something new. Okay. The end of the week, we have a strange 6 of Pentacles. I'll show it, but then I'm going to find the traditional one while we're talking. So in this one, we see 2 people in a romantic embrace. We see hopefully an evening out of the energy. But honestly, with this 6 of Pentacles, I think it's one of the few cards in this particular deck that I love that just misses. So what we can see with this is the focus may be on balancing out relationships. And people may use an impassioned request to get through to you. Like, if you loved me, or if you cared, or if this is, something like that, where it's not quite, it's not quite clean. They're putting in a little bit of pressure. And we know that family members can do this, sometimes friends, someone's calling in a favor. If it's your turn, if it's something where you feel good about it, you can do it, but make sure that they're not abusing the sort of the relationship here. A better illustration in this case, I like everything else, this is the only one that I want to compare. Six of Pentacles. I mentioned Two of Pentacles on Wednesday is about decisions, one or the other. This is about discernment. So with the Six of Pentacles, typically something has to shift. You can shift the time. Say, I can do this much today and that much tomorrow. We can get it done, but not all in one day. So delegation, that's one way that you can do it. You can ask for more. Well, we almost have enough. And if you want it now, we'll need either more people or more money. And that's the last piece. You can get like more resources if you need to. So money, timelines, or scope. Sorry to kind of bring it in a business perspective, but that's what it is. One of the things needs to be adjusted or stretched into another day or another week. And if you do that, you're fine. Don't overextend yourself. There's going to be a lot of open hands like we see here. You might also be the one requesting, like I mentioned, if you don't have enough. So whichever end of the equation you're on, realize that it's a balancing act, and compromise is going to be an important piece of this, as is, what's the best word that I'm looking for here? Diplomacy. Compromise and diplomacy. And realizing I got as much as I can out of this. And we're on Friday. So for Friday, what we're really looking at is negotiation. You don't have to accept the first request, the first offer. There's wiggle room. And my father was really good at this once upon a time. And one of the ways you can do it is by what we see here, using an impassioned request, being persuasive, but try not to abuse your privilege in that sort of negotiation, and don't let someone else abuse it. So we'll take the best of both cards. Okay, going on to the weekend. On Saturday, we have a Knight of Pentacles in the reverse position. Love this field of sunflowers that he's in. Pentacles, when reversed, can represent something in your life that is needy or greedy. Like I mentioned, there might be a job or a relationship or an activity where you're giving more but not receiving enough. The bank is kind of like empty. So you want to take care of yourself. And because of the two decision and discernment cards that we had earlier this week, say no. That's something that I missed, but it's coming through now here specifically on Saturday. If it's not good enough, say no. If you need more, ask. You are in a persuasive and a very good place with this Knight. Say, this is why we need it. This is what we need. Are you in? And if someone isn't, let it go. And sometimes it's okay to have some pruning. That's what happened to me this week, as disappointing as it could be with people saying goodbye. I'm not showing up anymore because you've changed one format or one part of this. I see that sometimes as fair weather friends, where it's like, seriously? So if someone in your life doesn't want to be with you through change, through good times, through bad, they were just there in a transactional level. And so there might be someone in your life that decides to exit, and that's okay too, because you're creating room for someone that is going to be there to support, not just to receive. And it is a two-way street. Okay, as we take a look at the next Sunday, a week from today, we have this energy of hopefully allowing yourself to open your eyes. So typically, Eight of Swords has a blindfold, and then the rest of this is pretty accurate. Someone that feels like they're trapped. So we have kind of like half of a bird cage here. There's no door in the front, there's no roof on top. But probably through training and reinforcement, there is this illusion that I must stay. So I must stay in this relationship because what will this person do without me? Usually the other person puts a guilt trip on you. And it can be any person in your life. It can be a boss. It can be your parent. It can be your partner. Maybe there's no more love. There's no more reciprocity, but there's just this obligatory, obligation energy. And in this situation, it's either codependence or it's an illusion. And in either situation, you'll never know how strong both of you are until you kind of step out of it. In your life, this can be a prison of thought. I'll never do this because, well, you just shut the door, but the door isn't shut, you're shutting it. So don't shut the door to possibility. You can instead think to yourself, I'd like to try this. I'm open to see if this will work. What if? What if is a lovely way to, it's like those magnetic cards. Just swipe the what if across to see if the door opens. What if? Why not? How? Ask those deeper questions and break the illusion that you can't. There also might be someone in your life that is closed-minded, closed-hearted, because they're in the prison of their own creation. It's not your job to wake them up. It's not your job to make them see or hear. You can leave a map. You can plant a seed. You can leave your own door open. And if they want to knock on it or open it, they can. But if not, there'll be other people, there'll be other opportunities, and you've just cleared yourself of something that proved to be an anchor otherwise, okay? So yeah, there's a lot of energy around relationships this week, and it's not just love. That's why I like to pull it out. I mean, love is a part of every relationship, really, but we're not talking just romantic or sexual. I'm talking about all levels of relationships. It is coming through this week. Okay, highlights and challenges, and then we'll set the goal. Thank you, Dakota, for that reminder. Okay, highlights this week. I think today is a major highlight with the Knight of Wands. It just is one of the brightest cards here. I love the passion. Do something that you care about today. I think another highlight this week is actually on Saturday. This is a day where you can speak up for what it is that you want in your life, advocate for yourself. There are challenges this week, but none of them come through as a full stop. I think Tuesday and Thursday are the most challenging. Everything else, there's room to negotiate, there's wiggle room, and you can make it work, okay? All right, while I'm getting everything set up for the next portion, do me a favor. If you enjoy this reading, go ahead and like and subscribe, and do me a favor on social and share. I always post, check out the Sunday or the Weekly Collective. Share that and let people know what you like, and maybe we can pull in some new voices, some new faces. I'd love to grow the channel a bit. And like I said, sometimes pruning is necessary, but it's also hard. So thank you. If you like what you see here, I'm set a goal here as we speak. But in the meantime, you can give back, of course, on my website through PayPal, but also right here through Super Sticker, Super Chat, etc. Wait a moment here, because I'm going to set a goal, and maybe I'll just allow you guys to kind of tell me what you'd like with the goal. So give me a second here, and I'm going to figure out how to do this from where I'm at, and we'll go from there. So how's everybody doing today? Let me know. Let me know what's going on and how you're feeling. All right, so let me see here. Okay, here we go. Goal, we're going to put it at 30 Super Chats. We'll do it for enough time so that it doesn't time out before. And I'm just going to say TBD so we can get going. I'll see what we're feeling like at that point. All right, so there's a goal there if you'd like to help out. Much appreciated, because I couldn't be here without your support. I have to say that there's a lot of choices on YouTube, and it's a more competitive market than it was. So if you love what you see here, consider giving back either through a sticker or ongoing through a membership. Okay. Let me see here. We're going to look at the elemental forecast here. This is just a check-in for fire, earth, air, and water. Let me pick the cards here, see what's coming through. Fire, earth, air, water. Okay, we'll start off with the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Choices based on, maybe there's too many choices in front of you, I should put it that way. So the Seven of Cups, I often like to kind of connect it to our lovely math meme here. It's like, well, what about this and what about that? And I don't know. And we can get lost in the choices. So if you're feeling like there's too many in front of you, then put it into two categories, or think to yourself, what is it that I'm really, we looked at the Knight of Wands, passionate about? Since this is fire, let's go to this. This is your day. Is this exciting? Does this allow me to grow? Does this push me beyond my comfort zone? Use some of those to narrow the field. Seven of Cups can also be ambiguous instruction. So a lot of times we get this in school or in business, but it can also come from a partner. So we get like they want us to do something, but you're like, but what is it that you want me to do? Or how am I supposed to, what's the deadline? Or what's the point? It's okay to ask these questions. You'll say it in a better way than what's the point. Say, help me understand the end goal, right? Or I want to make sure that we're aligned on this. There's a lot of different ways corporately to ask that, but maybe in a relationship, you're like, what's up with this? Why are we doing it? To yourself, this is also making sure that you're giving yourself an opportunity to brainstorm without immediately cutting it off. So the creatives out there, painters, writers, musicians, or just someone that might be trying to think creatively through a situation, put it all down on paper, on a blackboard, on a whiteboard. I don't care where you're recording it. Create the list, and then usually create a timeline and or like box yourself in. Like, I'm going to give myself an hour to brainstorm. That will help you not go too far, but allow you to at least go through some of this. And every idea has a kernel of opportunity, truth, or value. Because what you might be able to do is take some of these and put them together, mix and match. And you need that initial recording, that initial snapshot to make sense of it. And that's what I do. I'll put all of the things that come through, and I'm like, that one doesn't matter, these matter. Actually, there's some connection here. And then I use that when I channel, okay? So do the same for yourself and give yourself ample time to explore the options. Don't go too far. If you're lacking sort of clarity, ask. The last thing here is a lack of focus. And if you can't concentrate, change up where you're working, change the task, or try something different. Because your mind might be trying to take you down a different path or avenue. That was a lot that came through for fire. Good luck this week, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. That is a card of innovation and brainstorming, so do lean on that, but don't allow yourself to get distracted. All right, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, all the earth signs. Capricorn, you showed up with the devil. That can represent you. And so this is a great week to step into your power and to try new things. So I always want to highlight that sometimes the devil is just a Capricorn. Now, the devil can also represent a limit. And here we see very much a devil in a controlling situation, trying to control, because he's touching the crown chakra, people's thoughts. And thankfully, that's one of the most complicated areas for people to exert control. It takes time to brainwash. It takes time to sort of like drill into that. One of my favorite books as a kid, now, I mean, interestingly enough, on a banned book list, because we're going in the wrong direction on the planet, but like 1984. Because what was so cool, and it's not a really happy ending or happy book, but it is about like the mind really wanting to persevere and push through, knowing that you can't do something that doesn't make sense. And we are in a time where people outright just say ridiculous things or lies, and you know that that is not true. Hold true to your connection to what's right, because we are deviating right now. It's a test. We've been through it before historically. We'll come out of it again, but it's not the most fun. So the mirror. So for all of my earth signs, Monday is the day where this is going to come through. What you can sometimes do is hold up a mirror to someone and use the words that they say to illustrate the truth. I had to do this in a negotiation recently where someone said, we're only doing this and this. I said, good, because this word means exactly what I'm asking. And it wasn't like an in-person conversation. It was a phone call. They were like, okay. You can use language to help, because sometimes people trap themselves. The devil's a sloppy energy. It usually tells on itself. It usually leaves a trail, and you can usually cut that energy out if you're awake and aware enough. You have to stay clear. You have to be the beacon of light and be the source of light, and sometimes hold up the mirror and say, isn't that exactly what I'm talking about? You have to kind of help them see it in a different space and show them what they're doing. Yeah, I can't get into too much of it because some of it has to do with my temporary displacement, but I'm like, this is a safety issue. This is something, I think we're on the same place or the same page. So sometimes you have to negotiate and show people that if they are trying to do something, it's not going to benefit, it could be harmful. They usually don't want to be a part of that. So whether it's a boss trying to get you to do something that is illegal or counter to policy, or a friend that's trying to take a shortcut that's going to hurt in the long run, or it's your own sort of thoughts where it's like, this doesn't really matter, I can get away with this. No, the angel on the other shoulder is saying, this is going to cost more. So don't give in to temptation this week. Lead by example. Be authentic. Be honest. Use your integrity as your sort of like guiding light and as your compass. Avoid diminishing and restrictive thoughts because we're looking at the crown chakra. I can't, I won't, it will never. Again, you shut the door. So the other card that applies to earth signs is this. The door is not shut. The thought process is, but not the door. And if someone else lacks openness or imagination, it's their thought process. They don't want you to go through the door. But that might be exactly what you need. Whatever it is in front of you, I actually think there's a better option. And if this creates a little bit of, like the Three of Swords, good, because it's saying there's something more. So allow yourself to see beyond the block, beyond the moment. That's one of the things, that's one of my phrases, see beyond the moment, see beyond the devil. Because the devil's there actually, every card in tarot helps you. There's no bad card. So the devil is saying, is this really what you want? Do you really want that kind of energy? The devil will play the part if you want, but it doesn't need to be there. I don't believe in traditional hell. I believe that's something you can experience if you want. Nobody's damned. Nobody's trapped. Nobody has to go there. No one has to play with that energy. Took me a long time of deprogramming myself from many years of being shown another way. But I'm like, no, there's so many other places you can go energetically. You don't have to go there. So there are more options than this. If you don't like something, open another door. Okay. In contracts, get a second opinion. Even with doctors, if they're not listening, get a second opinion. And if you think you can do better, you can do better. Okay, lots coming through for all the signs. All right, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Okay, we see some good stuff coming through for you. This is an elevation from the other two cards that we saw, Two of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles. We see rebounding, growth, more resources coming through, and resources aren't just money. They can be opportunities that might lead to money, but you have to see the potential there. Reaching for the stars is important. Kind of like, this is the same deck that I use for the daily, but kind of like that 10 of Wands reaching through the liminal space for that star. So there's more. There's more where that came from. This is just the tip of a really abundant iceberg. Not one that's dangerous, but it's no, there's so many more levels. So continue to stretch and reach, but don't overextend yourself, because we just got through the balancing act that is the Six of Pentacles, which I talked about a few moments ago, okay? Patience is one of the more challenging aspects of this. I like to call this the cosmic gardener in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, where you see that person watching things grow. What I like about this is it's a different approach. It's sort of let me stretch. It's like getting physically fit. It takes days, weeks, months, years of training. When we look at an Olympic athlete, that's the culmination of years. So you begin the journey, and one day you just wake up stronger, agile, because we see, what is that, a cheetah outfit? So you're going to be able to kind of propel yourself by leaps and bounds in the coming weeks and months ahead. It's not all today, but you're starting the work that will create that speed and abundance. Pretty good card, actually, for the air signs, provided that you don't overextend, okay? Moving on to water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Empowerment, taking the helm and saying, let's do this. The Empress card is coming through to show you can, okay? You will, you are. We also see mentorship, maternal energy, teaching energy, and of course, boss energy. I think those are cherry blossoms above her, but we are in the springtime in the Northern Hemisphere, so things are starting to open up. Open up your heart, open up your mind, give people time for them to sort of see things unfurling. And Monday is a day where they can start to see that, because we have the lilies on this card. It takes a while. There might be one or two people in your life that get there faster, and you're probably the first among all of them. Do take care of yourself this week. The Empress is very good at giving, providing, and nurturing, not always to herself, though. And divine feminine energy needs to support itself. Same thing with divine masculine, but especially this. So take some time to love yourself, to take care of yourself, to do something just for you, just because. It doesn't have to have some sort of tangible outcome or greater purpose other than you love and support yourself. If you want to build something this week, great time to do so, okay? Overall, I'm loving the energy this week. I think the only thing that's a little challenging with the earth signs is like seeing beyond the moment. So other than that, everything looks pretty darned good. Okay, we're going to go into the special topic. Before we do that, just a reminder again to share this video. Please let some other people know about this. If you've been a long-time viewer but never subscribed, subscribe. If you like my mix of tarot plus mediumship, subscribe. Good to have you here. And again, you can give back with a super sticker, help us meet our goal. We'll do something fun, something you want. We'll see what that is. You can also give back through PayPal if you'd like to do that. And give me a follow on social media. Sometimes I saw someone's comment, they're like, when do you post all of the polls and when is the new, like just follow me elsewhere. You'll get reminders. I put stories up on Instagram, which I think is a really helpful thing. Same thing on Facebook. And if you don't like all of the like traditional platforms, I'm on some smaller ones too, like Blue Sky and actually you can see it here and a couple of other ones. So feel free, Threads and things like that. Feel free to follow me there. Okay. We have an important special topic today. How to step into a new timeline. Let's see how we want to do this. I'm going to pull the traditional spread for this, but I think it requires a couple of new approaches on it. So I want to see where we're at, and then what I might do for the Health, Wealth, Love, and Destiny, that might go into the bonus. If we get it, then I'll go there. And then instead, I might free flow for the timelines because I feel like we're going to need some time to look at the different timelines. So let me do this. We're going to pull the main spread plus the Celtic Cross, and then we'll go from there. I'll look at the different timelines and we'll explore options, and I can clarify cards. So last week, I don't think we did a Celtic Cross. This week, we're doing a Celtic Cross. Sometimes we do the expanded, sometimes we don't. I want to have more change because I think it helps us see it from all angles. And I know that change is scary, but change is good. It's the only thing that we can count on this planet. So don't be afraid of change. I'm here to help you. I'm here to hold your hand a little bit and not it's in a supportive, not a condescending way, because we all need to step into something new and different, okay? It'll be okay. And for that reason, I'm going to use a deck here that has butterflies to just encourage us through the change. And I love that message. And what I want to do here, I think I've already got an idea for this. So I'm going to look at the old timeline and the new timeline. And we'll look at this as we go through. Also, I just need to adjust my air. So give me 1 second. My AC is not working here. Okay. Let's get started with your catalyst. So there's an encouragement here to whatever's like right in front of you, to finish what you've started. Before we step into a new timeline, we need to wrap up old business. Anything, there's been a contract, an agreement, something that you've finished like 90% of the way, it's saying like, let's just keep going. And that is very much nicely aligned to the 10 of Wands, which I had earlier today, which was basically the daily card, which is just basically saying, let's get through this. It's a little tough. That final mile, that final step of the journey can be a little bit hard, but that's definitely something that is worth the energy and worth the work. Okay. I like that there's a yellow brick road here. The interesting thing with the Wizard of Oz, which is so it's kind of crazy if you watch it again. Like from the very beginning, there's symbolism and there's reasons, but Dorothy always had the ability to go home with those ruby slippers, right? All she had to do was tap them and say, there's no place like home. I don't know why, except for good storytelling. She had to go through all of these journeys, meet the wizard, fight the witches. Like there was a lot of stuff that went on. And I think that is just kind of like life. We've always had the keys within, but sometimes we have to discover it through experiences. So you're closer than you think. You've always had the power. This is especially for, was it earth signs that had the devil? It's an illusion. It's a wizard behind the curtain, and it's not as scary as you think. So the Hierophant also comes to me because it has two keys. So I feel in this moment that then that's what we're looking at, is the two keys on this spread. There may be more than one timeline, but I'll look at those two. So anyway, finish what you've started and know that you're closer than you think. And instead of ruby slippers, I guess she has a pair of high heel shoes, but she is walking barefoot this time around. All right. So I pulled a couple of, let's look at your path. So you've been on a path of awakening. You're headed towards a path of trust. One of the other topics that didn't make it today was going from fear to faith. And I actually had a bunch of people saying, oh, please don't go all religious. I'm like, it has nothing to do with religion. Faith is exactly what I just talked about, the belief that you have the power within. It's more of a Gnostic idea that you are connected to source and you can do this on your own. So for those of little faith, that's actually what that was going to be about. Because I wouldn't pick a particular deity because they're all like languages. I'm not secular. I'm not that's not how it works here. So this is what we see. You've been on a path of awakening, and what we see in front of you is a path of trust and faith. Will help you. These can help you navigate the other choices in front of you, but that's kind of what I'm picking up on already. Okay, so let's begin. At the center of the spread, we have the Empress card, and she's reversed. She also, in this deck, is almost like an amalgamation of the World and the Empress. So she's so close to birthing something that's going to be really, really big, because the World is the final card in the Fool's journey. So she can see it. She's like, this is big. But like I kind of said, there's two choices with the Empress. She can go through the path of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 21. Or I actually think there's a way to just simply jump to the final point. It's not a shortcut, it's a portal. But it's going to be different, and it's not going to be what people expect. So there's a building energy with the Empress. So you have two timelines. One, let's give it a very, very real life example. So in the past, we were taught if you work hard, if you go to college, if you do all of this stuff and put in X amount of years, you're guaranteed this. We're seeing that that's not always the case right now in this sort of weird job market. And there may be more than one path. So I did go through that plan. So let's see, that's 12 years of school, and then about 4 years of college, and then 2 years of, so 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years, almost 20 years, almost 2 decades of education. And so by the time you do that, it's and it's not like you start at age 0, you start older. So by the time you're finally through it, you're in your mid-20s. And some people that go through medical or legal sort of paths, they're almost 30 or plus when residencies are done. And that was an old method of having to go through all of these things. There are different ways to attain knowledge and to go through portals of opportunity. So it's just one example. You don't have to go through all of that. There was also pre-described things where you would have to go to school, get a job, get married, have kids, These are old milestones. They don't have to happen in that order. You can mix it up. You can create the puzzle. You can go to school when you're in your 40s. You can have your kids in your 40s. You can have your kids in your 20s and then work. You can do whatever the heck you want. The old way doesn't work anymore. The world is different now. It's changed since the pandemic. I mean, the last 20 years have been us taking away the blocks of what worked for our parents. It doesn't work anymore for pretty much everyone from Gen X, which gets forgotten, upwards. It isn't what we can't do what the boomers did. And even the boomers can't do what the boomers did now. So, and the forgotten generation before them, everything's changed. So we have to step into the new energy. Zennials, millennials, Gen Alpha, everybody that's in the newer generations understands it and sees it and has been trying to tell their parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents that, but I'm also here seeing it. It's a different world, and one of the things that you can do is make up your own rules. And this Empress sees that. I can get there faster if I do this. Mom doesn't get it. Dad doesn't get it. Teacher doesn't get it, but this works. So create your own plan. You don't want to do something without a plan. Know what it's going to take. Do the research, but there might be a different way, a better way, another way, something that works for you, okay? And as I just said, because we aren't ageist on this channel, if you're in your retirement years, you could decide to go back and learn something new. You could give back to the next generation. You could explore. You could do things that you never did before. The bucket list never has to be put to the side. You don't stop growing until you take your final breath. And even then, because I am a medium and I've talked to my mom after she's passed, my dad to some degree, but my mom more, like it happens then, like days after she passed, she came and visited me and she's like, oh my God. And then this and this. And then she talked about where she was after that. And like, it never stops. We never stop growing. Like Buddhists can weigh in on this. Like even nirvana, that is kind of like, I think it means like the burning out or whatever, like when you finally reach peace. But until we have that nirvana moment, which could take millennia to happen in our sort of soul's path, we will continue. Even then, though, that's enlightenment. You're still going to be in a place where there's more coming in. I don't think it ever stops. So just try it differently and allow that to be your path. That was a big first card. All right, this one is connected to that. Not everybody gets it. And it's not always worth explaining. This, I love corvidae, I love crows, and I love ravens, but this little raven or crow could just be, cawing in his ear, and it can represent someone in your life that just won't stop about something, comparing you to someone else, comparing you to them, comparing you to their expectations, saying that they're disappointed, or wondering when am I going to get grandchildren, or why don't you have this job, or what's going on with this, or ask the questions right back. And I've joked about this before. If you want that so much, you can go get someone. You can go get that. You can go do that. Do it for yourself. Stop pestering me, right? But it's not even worth the conversation because so this can be anyone in your life that just talks and talks and talks, but doesn't listen, okay? This can be your higher self, not necessarily higher self. This can be an aspect of yourself, I should say, that is putting into your mind can't, won't, never, shutting of the doors. There's a more elevated version of you, like temperance, that's coming through and saying, wait a second, I think we can try this. Let's dip our feet into the pool of possibilities. Liberation is there. You just have to shut the noise off a little bit here, okay? Let me take a drink and then we're going to go into your deep past. Okay. So in the deep past, we have the Page of Cups, which doesn't want to stay in my hands. The Page of Cups represents the ability for you to receive. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's a shaman, and we did an exercise of meditation where one of the hardest things that we can have to do for ourselves sometimes is to open up our heart to receive. Because again, giving is easier, releasing is easier, but actually saying, I'm ready, willing, and worthy of this. Love, joy, passion, peace, excitement, whatever it is. Open yourself up to be the vessel to receive the abundance that the universe wants to present to you. Karmically, some of you have done that, but karmically, some of you might also be deciding, oh, okay, I'm still having a hard time. Energetically, we can already see someone reaching out and wanting to make the connection. We have pigs flying in the corner, and that's saying it's not impossible. Sometimes you have to open yourself up to that seemingly, oh my God, could this really be sort of dream? Yes, it could. You have to allow your heart to lead the way, not your head. Your head sometimes asks too many questions, right? Okay. So now let's take a look at what's coming through in the recent past. One of the reasons some of you might be a little guarded is because your heart was trampled on a little bit. We have a lovely stallion in the background or a Mustang, and we have this knight here. And with the card in reverse, there might have been someone that came through and just left a mess. There's a great song by Tori Amos. Like, I really love her old work, Hey Jupiter. And I think she has something like talking about your boots walking through my heart and leaving a mess, something like that. And so sometimes we feel like that. Someone has just trampled on us and they've left a mess and we're there to clean up the pieces, right? So in this situation, know this, that your heart has grown not weaker but stronger and more discerning from that experience of heartbreak or disappointment. And if we protect our heart too much, it can't then receive the upgrades. And the song Hey Jupiter is about someone that's ghosting you and ignoring you, by the way, which kind of ties into what I was mentioning in spirit, where someone is putting you in the friend zone. It's not always like a malicious sort of energy, but it is someone who can't say that I'm not interested in more. And it makes you feel like in that song, it's like no one's picking up the phone. I'm calling, but no one's picking up the phone. So that song's going through my head. It's a nice oldie. So just know that no communication is communication. It represents someone who, gosh, I mean, I think we've all been there. We don't want to hurt feelings, but we end up hurting feelings more by not saying something that needs to be said. So let it be an instructive lesson to you that it's better to communicate. Silence isn't a good form of it. I've done it. I'm sure you've done it. Everyone's done it. But like when you reflect back on it, it's better just to say no, or I'm not interested. Okay, and open yourself up for someone that is. There is someone that is. Boy, your boots can leave a mess. Thank you. Yeah, Tori's great because she actually channels. So I'm a big fan of her first 4 or 5 albums, particularly her work with the piano. But like back in the 90s and early 2000s, when she was doing a lot more touring of those early works, you could see her go into like almost like a channeled state on stage, completely changing lyrics. And anyway, I love performers that you can just tell that they're tapped in. She calls her songs girls, and she talks about ghosts and gods and goddesses, and she's pretty cool. Definitely check out the early work because, again, the piano stuff I kind of miss. I still love what she's doing now, but like she's a really great composer. Okay, 4 of Pentacles, reverse position, and in the crowning position as well. So exactly what I was just talking about with your heart being protected. So we'll go to a different singer, Sting and the Police, building a fortress around your heart. I can't remember if that was in his solo work or the Police, but anyway, we do build sometimes this fortress to protect ourselves. And it does do that, but it also holds us back. I also like to refer to the 4 of Pentacles as the devil that you know. Holding on to a job, a person, a situation, even a habit like an addiction, because it creates a sense of predictability in your life. This is one of the anchors that's holding you back from exploring a new timeline. And this is especially for the earth signs because the devil came through. So this isn't it. This isn't all there is. And this isn't enough. There's much more than that, right? In negotiations, this is exactly that. So what you want to say is, sort of like elaborate, and also again holding up the mirror that we talked about, say, if we do this, this is what we're going to lose. So we can save money, but like for instance, if it was a business and maybe a boss is trying to get you to do something, you could say safety might be at risk, quality could be at risk, reputation could be at risk. We might save 10%, but we're going to lose so much more. I think it's worth finding a way. So in your own life, this also might be looking at the big picture and saying, this will cost a little now, but it's going to help me gain in the long run. And also in relationships, if somebody can't open their heart, then that's not the right person. So anyway, now I have an old Madonna song, Open Your Heart to Me. But people can't, they have to be the one that uses the key. They have to open it up. If they're not ready or willing, there's someone else that is. And you deserve to be happy. You shouldn't have to compromise. You shouldn't have to receive less. Okay? All right. You are co-creating. The High Priestess can see through the baloney, can see through the fog, can see through the nonsense. And all she has to do is trust. I love this one because if you look closely, you can actually see her eyes through her eyelids. It's a little bit of a trippy effect, but can you see that? The closer you get, the more you see her eyelids. The further back, the more it looks like eyeshadow. So you're looking beyond the moment. You're looking beyond the block, beyond the devil, beyond the Four of Pentacles, beyond all the stuff we just talked about, and saying, this is just, it's like context and a story. So the older I get, the more I've lived on this planet, the more I just see that it's like we're in a big play. Our life is a play. There are different acts. There are different players. You can recast them. You can recast yourself. And at a certain point, you can either get pulled into the drama or step into the playwright mode. And I really want you to step into the playwright. Find your inner Shakespeare and decide, is this a comedy? Can I laugh at it? Is this a tragedy? Or is this something altogether different? Is this a supernatural, amazing adventure journey, which we don't really see in Shakespeare? I mean, he has a lot of supernatural elements, don't get me wrong. Almost everything has witches and fairies and all of that, but like, we're going even beyond that, opening a portal into the unknown, more like sci-fi. You can write whatever kind of story you want. This is your life. Lean into intuitive development, something that I'm doing. I mean, I've been doing it for 11 plus years, but like more recently, I want to go even deeper and connect with my own skills even more, because again, kind of going back into, there are so many ways to connect to source. No one way is better, folks. And whatever way opens up the channel the deepest, that's where you can go. Meditation, yoga, tarot, mediumship, anything that works for you, runes, like there's no wrong way. But this is a great time to lean more into the creative part of you. To the creative folks out there, put the energy into your art. Your art can change the world. You can change your world too, but be creative in how this looks. Imagine a different outcome. So what you see in front of you, let me see if I can find the deck. Well, it's already put away, but it's like the Five of Cups. What's done is done. Those 3 cups on the ground, done, dusted. The 2 cups over there, who knows what's in those right now. So why don't we explore opportunities and not just pay attention to the script. I think it's time to go off script rather, or to rewrite the script. And that's not always fun, and that's not always easy. And one thing that I'm kind of, I guess, doing this year is pushing all of us out of our comfort zone. Some people don't want to do it, and they left. Some people want to do that, and I'll be here to help guide you. So let's keep getting out of the comfort zone together, and we're going to kind of like emerge stronger. And I was going to say evolve too as we go through that. This is one of the things that is your strength right now. Your communication skills, your ability to walk the walk, not just talk the talk, because the Queen of Swords has to do both. She will be held to account. If she says she's going to do it, she better do it. But if she does both, then she's powerful, she's formidable, and she's one of the strongest cards in the minor arcana. She's right up there with like Justice. That's her bestie. Because I like to imagine tarot hanging out in like this big room, or like just kind of like going off on their own little circles and things. So definitely the King and Queen of Swords hangs out with Justice. They all have swords. They all make a difference and a change in the world, and they do it through their actions, through their words, through declarations, through law. And she'll go up and fight. If she doesn't want it, doesn't like it, she cuts through the nonsense. So one of the ways that you can change your timeline right now is to cut through the nonsense and just get to the point. No, we're not going to do this. This is why, and this is what we are going to do. Let that sit in for a second. And if someone tries to talk over you or convince you that something's right when it's absolutely not, just say, no, I don't accept that. That's not right. I hear what you're saying, but it's flawed, and here's why it's flawed, and here's how you can change it, and here's what we need to do. You have to step into the lawyer role, sticking with facts, not getting overly emotional. And one thing that you can do is say, I understand why you said that, but let me tell you why this isn't correct factually. That will help you. And if you need help getting there, work with a mentor, work with a lawyer, work with someone that can give you the talking points, okay? By the way, I mentioned the king and the queen. The king is right here, but separating these two is the Eight of Pentacles. So get it in writing, folks. This card is normally showing someone hammering out the details, and there's a big production line in front of him. And so this is also a card of education, writing, like I said, producing. But when it's sandwiched between the king and queen of swords, it's saying there's a draft, there's a revision, and then there's a final presentation. Like you got to go like 2 or 3 steps before you get it done, and make sure that everything is recorded. To that end, if you're on a phone call, make sure that you ask if you're being recorded and ask if things are being recorded. So most companies, depending on the city, state, country, or province that you're in, there's a disclosure obligation. And the United States is kind of weird in this respect because, yes, we're one country, but each state has its own thing. So I think in California, you can't record someone without permission, but that might not be every state. I'm sure different countries have the same thing. So make sure that wherever you're at in the world, you know your rights when it comes to what's being put into writing or being recorded. Very specific, but it comes through on this as well. If you want to go to school, if you want to learn something, if you want to teach, or if you're interested in creating a curriculum, yes, this will change your timeline and change the outcome. Okay, I need a drink and then we'll continue. On the other end of this, we have the King of Swords. So what I like about this King of Swords is the way that it's represented by all the different winged creatures. An owl here under my index finger. We have a bat just to his side here, dragonfly, another raven or crow, and I think that's everything. He also has feathers all around him. So multiple methods of communication. You change it based on the audience. Segmentation is a fancy word, I believe, in marketing. So each market segment gets a different way of communicating. So in real life, if you had to talk to your parents, you'd use one tone. If you talk to a professor, you'd use another. If you talk to your friend, you'd use a different one. Just like we use like usted or ustedes in Spanish, or vous or tu in French. There's a lot of different ways that you change how you're addressing people, but it goes beyond just that pronoun. It also goes to like the language and the presentation. So that's what we're getting at here, is one size doesn't fit all when it comes to explaining yourself. Make sure that you tailor to the audience. This is good for job seekers. It's harder now because it's all digital, but when and where you can tweak things, do that, because each audience wants a slightly different approach, and we'll appreciate that. This is ultimately representing something coming to a close. So whatever you're trying to do when it comes to a decision, a contract, communication, etc., this is as high as you get in swords. So we see something coming to a close, okay? Love it. We have another king in the outcome, the King of Pentacles. And this is almost like call and answer between, I forget which element had the Knight of Pentacles reversed, or where I saw that. Maybe that was in the 7-day forecast. I think it was. Maybe it was like on Saturday. Wherever that Knight showed up, this is the eventual outcome for it, which is King of Pentacles. You get all of this and then some. And as you know, if you watch my channel a lot, one of my favorite phrases to add on to a request to Spirit is all of this or greater for my highest good. Because when you ask for something, you have to be careful. I'll give you a humorous example, not really funny, but kind of funny. So like back in 2017 or 2018, I was like, gosh, I really need a break. And when I said that, like a week later, I tripped on one of Apollo's toys, broke my nose, had a radial fracture on my elbow, and then bruised my knee. I'm like, well, I got like almost 3 breaks, but that wasn't what I meant. And I had to take time off. That resulted in me kind of like having to take it easy for a week. I thought, okay, let's be specific when I manifest in the future. I think what I'm going to ask for is enough abundance and enough free will to generate an opportunity for me to voluntarily require myself to have some time off without, affecting, like, I get very specific when I manifest. I'm like, with no harm to my body, a positive effect, like, I'll be very specific. Don't use a word like break unless you're very specific. There are other things where you can just be also more cosmically like you can be like a little more vague and just say, I would like to receive abundance in the highest form. I would love to have ample resources so that I can, on my own volition, rest. That would have been a better way. But just saying I need a break, where's the break going to happen? Is it a broken window? Is it a broken bone? Is it a... Be specific. Be specific. And that will, not as a fear sort of thing, but just really be specific. Another thing when, this was in the past, probably almost a decade ago, but someone was just trying to find like a job or a love interest. And I'm like, that's too general. It could be a really bad job. It could be a love interest that carries a lot of baggage. You can say you're open to receive love in the highest form from someone who's done the work, where you can enter into this next phase as partners rather than teacher and student. Like, that's a better form of manifesting the partner. So find a way to be clear on what your request is. Even in real life, when you're putting it in a contractual form, make sure that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Otherwise, King of Pentacles is just showing this is a great time for development. It's a green thumb. Anything that you put your time and energy on, you'll see a return. You might also be looking at making your living environment feel better. You're looking at creating a nest egg and making sure that the future is stronger and brighter and better than it currently is. Okay. I'm going to change up the way that I do the expanded forecast. And I'm going to think about this because we really want to look at timelines right now. So I think the way that I will do the expanded forecast, but it's going to be timeline oriented and specifically connecting us to our special topic. So how can we step into the new timeline? But I think before I even do that, I'm going to clear the cards here while I'm talking. I'm going to do a couple of general things, which is what is blocking, what do we need to finish up in this timeline, and then what is, So we're gonna do a couple of high-level questions, and then I'm going to expand this a little bit to see how to get us into the next timeline. Okay. So we will do the expanded. We'll still do a bonus. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but baby steps. So show me, is there any unfinished business? I think that's the first thing. Before we even look at like what's blocking or whatever, show me what needs to be done. Unfinished business. And let me get a different oracle deck to help us with this. Hold on. I was mentioning the runes, and I hope that I pulled this over, and I did. I'm still displaced. I'm hoping to know what's going on. I'll tell you more about that after this. Like, when we get through the special topic, I'll tell you what's going on with my living situation, which is still in flux, but I don't want it to affect the cards. Okay, so generally speaking here, Page of Wands in reverse as what you need to finish up. Give us a runic explanation on this as well. Okay, both reversed. Let's talk about it. Let's zoom in a bit. All right, so strength, determination, and healing. So in the week, not in the weekly, but in the, what do you call it? Yeah, it was in the 7-day forecast. What I was seeing there was this need to sort of like pull yourself into a better place in your emotional state. And so the healing part of this is key. So if there's anything in your life where you feel like, I need to take care of my heart, I need to take care of my health, I need to heal my finances, whatever requires healing, priority number one. The determination is just saying, I am doing this. Not I will do this, not I can do this. You can start with that, but I am doing this. We have to be more determined and more assertive with it. And if I feel like I don't have the strength, I'm going to find the support system in my life to help me see that I've always had the key, which was part of what we talked about earlier. Okay? And then the Page of Wands here is just starting the path. just starting to explore a little bit. And let's pull this up to the camera. So we see a little gecko in the center and then a cat. The cat is sort of like saying, come on, you can do this. What are you afraid of? And the gecko is showing flexibility and also the ability to rebound, because if the tail is lost off that little gecko or lizard, a lot of times, a lot of different species can regrow it. So you can bounce back. But you have to kind of like step into this path of healing and say, I'm going to finish what I've started. I have the power, I have the strength. You don't have to find it externally. Building the internal strength and power, that's the first thing that you need for this timeline. Okay, what's opening up to you in the realm of possibilities? And we'll more specifically drill in, looking at health, wealth, love, and destiny, but I want to look more cosmically. So cosmically speaking, what's stepping into your life right now? Could we be any more like timeline oriented here? It's decision making, this way, that way. All right. So assuming you have two choices in front of you, think about 1 and 2. All right. So if you have two choices, option 1, 2 of Pentacles, there's one of the options in front of you that I don't know if you have enough right now, enough time, energy, money, or commitment. So it's really calling into question that. And until time, money, energy, or commitment is balanced or abundant, this one is a bit of a stretch. And then the other path is a little bit better, but the challenge here is both of them are resource, and we'll look at this when we go into money, but both of them seem to be crunched a little bit with resources. So with the other path, option number 2, we have 4 of Pentacles. So it was reversed. So for some of you, it is like saying, I don't know if I'm good enough. There could be a confidence issue. There may be a time, energy, or money issue where you need a little bit more. So you can do it if you get a loan or if you get some additional support. So that's an option, looking for external funding or other sources. And there also, by the way, could be a third one. So I don't love either of these. So remember, you're the high priestess. So if you don't like what's in front of you, see what else is there. So what's the other way? This, that, or the other. I like the other. So the other one is the Queen of Swords. She can do it because she is creating something from scratch. So this could be entrepreneurial. This could be you using your voice or your writing skills to put something into a proposal or even like a video or audio format that people can relate to. So maybe there's something beyond these two paths, which is something that I talked about with the Empress much earlier. These are seemingly not enough. So look beyond that. If you're not happy with what's there, there might be another way. And this is communication, writing, teaching, advocating, legal energy. Like there's something else that you can do through another path. And sometimes it's just speaking it into existence. You could say, how about this? And someone's like, oh, okay, hadn't thought about that. Pitching an idea that doesn't exist. You never know until you ask. You never know until you put it out there. Okay. And is there any block in front of you right now beyond the resource block? No, we kind of get more of the same. The thing that I like about the Queen of Pentacles here is, again, she, like the King, has a green thumb and a litter of kittens around her as well, not just one. So I feel like there's more than you imagine down that little yellow brick road that we saw earlier. So the inspiration piece I would normally ascribe to the Queen of Wands, but she's also developmental. She represents, a lot of times she's pregnant in different decks. So she's starting to think about something. I'm sitting with this, I'm letting this kind of develop and gestate into something more. So I feel like there's a kernel of an Ace of Pentacles that you're maybe not giving as much time and energy that you should. And then we see here that it has the ability to really spring forth. And this is almost like the chariot earlier. Like you can create your own chariot. You can go in your own path. You can try something on your own. So definitely a nod of approval for all of those out there that are kind of entrepreneurial. Okay, let's use a different deck, and we're going to expand the forecast to health, wealth, love, and destiny, but in the realm of changing timelines. Okay. Let's start off. So, yes, we're expanding the forecast, but I'm going to do it one at a time. So, we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll start off with health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. I'm going to use another deck for this. Okay, so we have the Eight of Wands in the reverse position. And interestingly enough, the way that this one is illustrated, you might be taking a few steps forward and then maybe a step or two back. And it either is a wash or it's very slow progress. So if you're feeling that way with something going on in your health, there might be a different way to do it, or the pacing needs to change. So normally, if this were the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, we just see a bunch of rockets going through the air, and it represents a lot of speed and a lot of movement. And when the card is reversed, it's saying, slow down, take a few steps back. There are different ways to approach what you're trying to accomplish. Sometimes slower is better. So I think I told you I've been doing more exercise, and one of the things that I do is stretching, because like after this, I'll walk the dog, have a bite to eat, but then I'm going to do some stretches to open up my hips, to help with my knees, to release any tension that I might have here. Because if for those of us, like, we should be doing this at offices. I know that some Eastern cultures do it. I think that Western companies need to do it as well. Like at 10 in the morning and at 2 in the afternoon, at the minimum, they should have breaks for wellness where you stretch and breathe and get up from your desk. But like really once an hour, you've got to get up. The reminders that come on our watches, we should listen to and get up. So stretching is something that you can do. Breathing, like what we would do in yoga and meditation. And then when you think of exercises, speaking of yoga, one of the reasons I love it is there are different practices, but there are some where you hold a pose for a long time. And it's not, I love vinyasa flows where you're actually breathing and moving energy. That has its own purpose. Then there are other ones where you just are like, okay, I'm going to hold this pose for like 30 seconds so that I can feel the energy in my legs, in my calves, in my feet, and plant myself on the planet. And you feel the burn when you hold it sometimes. So slower can be equally as effective as working a sweat in an aerobics class that might be harder on the joints. Slow it down, make it more intentional. 20 to 30 minutes of intentional exercise can be better than 60 minutes of sloppy exercise. And also slowing down what you're eating, how often you're eating. One thing that I started to do was I have a little app that helps me, but I just track what I've eaten in a day. And that helps me see that plus the exercise, how that's paying off. It's a holistic view. What you're eating, how often you're eating, how you're exercising, how intentional you are in the exercise. This can help you take fewer but more effective steps. That's actually what I'm getting here, and that can change things. Some of you just need to slow down. So now let's pull it back from the body. This is like saying, if we're focusing solely on producing, what is the quality of that which we produce? Is it good or is it sloppy? Let's produce things that aren't sloppy, that are better, that are more intentional. Less is more. I guess I could summarize this up by saying less is more. You'll still get to the end, but sometimes slower is better and less is more. I hope that helps. For this was reversed, but maybe you need support. So I'm supported in my path. Some of you feel like I am not supported in my path, or I need support. So find that in friends, in resources online. Some of them can be free. Like there's great YouTube channels on health and fitness. Just vet out the person to make sure that, you know, they resonate with you. And that'll help out. This is a free resource. You can join in here. So like there's a lot of ways for mind, body, spirit. That's the other thing. Meditation, mental health, exercise, and then larger things like fun, joy, spiritual development. It's all of that. Because if you just do one and the others are atrophying, it's counterproductive. So find areas in your life where you are supported, mind, body, spirit. And it will not always be the same person or group of people. You might have 3 different groups that support the growth in those areas. What I love about the dragonfly on this one is it's another metamorphic card. So, or symbol, I should say. It starts in the ground and in the water and then eventually rises up above. And it goes through its own sort of state of metamorphosis. Not quite like a chrysalis, but it has like a pupa state. And anyway, develops just like you would see with a butterfly or a moth. So see yourself in the metamorphosis. Don't compare yourself so much to someone else. Slower is better, folks. When you make changes in diet, exercise, and mental health, the slower and more consistent you are, the more it will stick. If it's too fast, it creates chaos in the mind and the body. There are times where we sometimes have to make a quick change, but we also need to make sure that it's consistent, okay? Slower is better. And that's what I got for that. Looking at it from a different perspective, what's the possible timeline that you could shift into? We just talked about where you might be at. What could you shift into? Wow, okay. But another card of slowing down, interestingly enough. Okay, so the Knight of Swords. It's so much closer than you think. Like, it will happen fast when you finally release the sort of attachment to something happening in your mind, body, or spirit. The reversal of the Knight of Swords is saying it's still about slowing down. And that's probably not what some of you want to hear. So we got 2 cards, slowing down. Also, the Knight of Swords takes a step back to ask themselves, am I on the right path? Does this feel right for me? So checking in on a daily basis with that. And then this was also reversed, but shift your perspective. So that's why you take a step back so you can see everything that's possible and everything that you've done. But also going to a different mentor, teacher, or source so that you can see something else. There's more than one way to kind of like go at whatever it is that you're trying to do. Okay. That was great. So that's how we're doing it a little differently this week, but different can be fun. Let's not be afraid of change, folks, please. All right, wealth. Let's take a look at resources, life, purpose, and career. This is important because there was a lot of stuff coming through in this, okay? So what's the main message around wealth? And why is this coming through? Okay, so we got the Sun card, which is one of the best and brightest cards. Like, if I had to pick my favorite, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot, actually. But what I like about the Sun and the Star in particular, because they're like siblings, is they are auspicious and conspicuous. So when we're looking at wealth, you're not supposed to blend in. The Sun is basically saying, look at me, listen to me, watch this, try something new. It's also a child, typically, usually a little boy. So there is birthing energy and stepping into something new with a sense of childlike, like abandon, and also, I don't want to use the word naivete, but it's kind of like they don't think about things too much. They just do it. I was talking to another friend of mine who's spiritual, and we were recounting one thing that we missed from the innocence of youth, and that was they're better manifestors. Kids can just create things quicker. And I think it goes all the way from like 0 to maybe 25. During this age span, you have not yet been completely jaded by the world. So you think you can go for things. You're like, I'm going to do this. People around you are like, are you sure? Yeah, I'm doing it. And just sometimes it's messier than you thought, but like you make it happen. So another song by Mariah Carey, Make It Happen. It is about faith, actually. So just believing in yourself and stepping into something, you can and will make it happen. So we need to connect with the inner child that didn't have fears, inhibition, self-conscious energy because of judgment cloud their way because they don't know better. Actually, they know better. They know that that's just grown-up problems. So we need to let go of some of the grown-up stuff and get back into the kid energy and say, I'm doing it. Okay. This card was reversed on Sue's. Communication, insight, and wisdom. King of Swords energy very much. And I think this is, looks like Odin on the card as well. But very much about connecting to your like sage knowledge within and combining the best of two worlds. So you are both that inner child, but also the very strong, wise adult that we see on this card. And all we have to do is step into it and say, I got this. I'm doing this, okay? I am. I want you to use I am very carefully. We talked about this, I believe, in the last weekly collective. I don't know why we do this in language. So sometimes we say, I feel certain things, like I feel sick. But sometimes we shift it around and you say, I am, and I don't want to say that. I am plus sick, tired, angry. You're not that. You feel that. That's in your life, but you're not that. What you want to use I am with is I am successful. I am perseverant. I am perceptive. What was the next one? I was going to think of something about rebounding, but it was kind of like resilient. But all of those, perseverant, etc. Use power words with the I am. And then use the shadow words with the I feel. I see, I feel, this makes me feel like. That then lessens the sort of like shadow or negative energy and puts it in its place, which is something that affects, but doesn't define you. Because when you say I am, you got to be careful. Don't use words like broke or broken, and then any of the emotions, angry or unlucky or any of that. You are invoking it. Don't do that. Really pay attention to that. And I guess in Spanish it would be like soy. But like, so yes, whatever your present tense of to be is, like, be very, very careful of that in your language and in your thoughts and in your life. We need to rethink that, particularly in English, but I don't know how it works in some other languages, but we need to stop associating that with you. You are not that. You are also more than where you live and what you're, like, use your name or something, but like, other than that, be very careful about what you're associating with I am. Put strong, abundant, joyful, and sort of like aspirational words with I am. And let those be your mantra. And the next time you feel yourself saying something like, I am sick of being sick, correct it in real time. I am getting well. I am well. I'm angry that I'm saying that I'm angry. I'm not angry. I'm forgiving myself. I'm resolving that. Just fix it. If you're starting it, make it different. But then don't do it again. All right. That was kind of powerful because that's affecting your wealth. So especially if you're saying, gosh, we say this with unemployed, don't we? I am, so say instead, I'm job seeking. And instead of retired, just say I'm enjoying life. I am no longer working because I don't have to. I am enjoying life. Let's not put ourselves in these pockets. I mean, students, that's fine. You're learning. And if you're working, that's fine. But like, let's make them more powerful than an association with that. I think we need a better word for retired. I am wise. Therefore, I do not need to work anymore. Whatever. Find something else. Use your language well. And in that, when you negotiate, you might be able to open up a new timeline by saying something like that. So how can you open up a new timeline with respect to abundance? Ooh, love it. Yes, I'm successful. Also, I'm redefining what success means to me. What's up with all the yellow brick roads? These are different decks. Wizard of Oz energy, loud and clear. A bunch of different artists apparently connecting with it. All right. So these two together. So the Six of Wands is success. And again, with the yellow brick road, the illusion in the Wizard of Oz was she was trapped in Oz. She always had the key. And the yellow brick road was a little bit of a winding mess, wasn't it? I haven't watched or read the book in a long time or the movie in a long time, but it took her through perilous things. So there's more than one path. And also, like, if you want it enough, she just had to connect with her heart. There's no place like home. What is home to you? What is success to you? Is success money? Is success accomplishment? Is success having enough time and energy to spend with the people that you love? Is success making a difference in the world? Is success healing? Is success finding your voice? You figure it out. It's not defined on this card, and it shouldn't be on any good Six of Wands, but you are success. You're not just successful. It's maybe grammatically strange, but you are success personified. And you get to decide what success looks like in your life, and you might also be helping other people find their inner success. Whatever you're doing, this isn't the final phase. Whatever you're doing, the best is yet to come. Whatever you're doing, find the success in that, and then continue to look for other things that around you also make you feel that sense of being lifted up rather than pulled down. Okay? Good. All right. Powerful messages. Let's see if there's anything else. If you're trying to access some more abundance in your life, do we have one more message around that? Fight for it. Fight for what it is that you think you deserve, that you know you deserve. Also, if something's wrong, work with a lawyer. It might be time to seek out legal counsel. Contracts need to be fair. If it's not, fight it. If there's some sort of ism, ageism, sexism, or some sort of phobia like homophobia or whatever it is, xenophobia. If there's something going on where people are not supporting you because of something, then you say, actually, that's not right. So fight for what's right, and you might be able to open up a channel. This is for those of you that really want to make a difference for yourself and for other people. Thank God we have people on the planet that do that for us because we all benefit from those warriors. Justice is a warrior. She doesn't always look like one, but she usually has that sword, and sometimes she fights. Okay? She's not just sitting there with her. She'll put down the scales and get out there as a, like, in my mind's eye, she fights. So sometimes you have to fight. All right, let's move on to love and relationships. I'm going to choose a different deck for this. So let me do that. All right, love. What's the current message for relationships? Could these cards splay out anymore? Ooh. And why is this coming through? Wow. Like, I feel like these are super, super connected because the Two of Swords often feels like they're not being seen or heard. And as we look at this runic card, we have Gabo coming through with gift, reciprocation, and union. So for some of you, you're not feeling appreciated or that things are being reciprocated. And in these situations, it's important to ask. You know, I mentioned also this at the very beginning in the channel messages. I said, don't go overboard with a gesture or a gift. Open yourself up to receive. There's times and places where, yes, you want to be the first one that's coming forth with something. This is more for like existing relationships though, too. Like if you're constantly the giver, allow yourself to be the receiver and let the other person come to you. If you want to give something to someone, ask them, what do you want? So you know how to show up. This card is really encouraging more open and more clear communication because we had two swords cards, the King and the Queen of Swords, which I said basically they just get to the point, they say what they want and how they feel. So this upsets me, or I love it when you do this, or how do you feel about this, or why aren't we talking about this? Just get in and get out. And also with King and Queen of Swords, you can ask, what's on your mind? How are you feeling? And if your partner doesn't want to talk, sometimes it's okay. Like just say, well, let's chat later. Do you want to talk about it tomorrow or something? If they never want to talk, then you're saying this is a two-way street. And you shouldn't have to force it. It's not like pulling eye teeth, which is a strange, a strange phrase. But like you shouldn't have to force things. If they constantly don't want to talk, then they don't want to be. Going back to the verb to be. They don't want to be in this. They're not doing the work. And to be in a relationship requires give and take. So, any level of relationship, coworker, lover, friend, family. Just because we're in a bloodline with someone doesn't mean we have to talk to them. If it's toxic or if they're not receiving us as we are, if they want us to live differently than what is authentic to us, you don't have to do that. The soul contract was somehow you were related and learned from that, but at a certain point, they have to be able to receive, to celebrate, and to see you. And if they can't, then this might be a time of shifting and moving so that you can hold space for something better, okay? And that's why sometimes I like to just go higher level, not just segmenting it, because we're all here together today. So we don't have to segment this into, are you single? Are you single and looking single and no, we're looking at big level stuff, big stuff today that affects everybody watching. So whether it is someone new or someone existing or a family member, that's the energy that came through. And that can be what we look at when we look at relationships. So everybody understands communication is key this week. Reciprocity is key this week. And you can't force someone to reciprocate. If they don't want to reciprocate, do you still want to be in this relationship? Okay. Separate from this, what wants to open up once you resolve the Two of Swords? Yes. Amen to that. Yes, Spirit, exclamation point. We have Two of Cups and movement in a better direction. All right, let's talk about this Two of Cups. The only thing that is a little odd about this one, there are two people. It almost looks like they are conjoined twins, but you can see the white dress here. But if you look at it from afar, it almost looks like they're connected, right? But look at the intertwining energy. This is very twinning energy. There's someone that could be coming into your life that is so close and similar to you. Or there might be someone in your life that's so close and similar to you that you have to step back sometimes and not take things too personally, not lose yourself in the energy of partnership or relationship, and make sure that there's still an essence of you there, okay? Because this Two of Cups, it's a lot. There might be some codependency here too. This can set in any level of relationship, including parent and child. So let's detangle ourselves a little bit. Let's see what the similarities are. Let's also allow for there to be some differences so they can be healthier. Because what I'm seeing here is, and this is why Spirit was saying don't go too far too fast with the gestures as well. Like, let's give things room to breathe. Let's give it space. On the bright side, I do see new love and friendship coming in. So we have movement, journey, and impetus coming through here. The journey piece is important. Love, relationships, etc. It's about the journey, about getting to know them, about the courtship phase, even in like friendships, like just that unfurling energy is really, really important. But what I see here is 2 horses with no driver. And I just see strong-willed energy. Nobody, like sometimes when it's great, you're on the same page, woohoo. When it's not, it's like, oh my gosh, we're pulling and struggling. So yeah, like sometimes figuring out when to cede and say, how about this? You pick the movie tonight, I'll pick it tomorrow. You pick the restaurant tonight, I'll pick it tomorrow. You take turns driving the ship. That means sometimes you compromise, but then when it's not your turn to compromise, it feels great, and then they compromise. That's a relationship, give and take. And hopefully there's some things in the middle where it's like, I think we both want to do this. Why don't we do it? So that's the work that's going to be required. And that's the kind of energy that's being pulled in this week, is someone so similar that sometimes you fight. Because when you have someone who's slightly different, there's an ability to, you both kind of go in a slightly different direction. But if it's too close, that's why siblings fight. Too close, it's like you're just on each other's nerves. So a little bit of space could be helpful as well. Okay? I will pull just one card. I mean, I mentioned it already. I saw new love coming in this week if you're looking for friendship or love. So with respect to friendship or love or any sort of potential partnership, what do you need to know if you're pulling in something new? You can't fake it. The magician energy represents charisma and chemistry. That's what I was looking for. So when you feel it, you feel it. When you don't, you don't. If you're the one that doesn't, just say, I'm getting a friend's vibe. But there might be someone this week where you're in the friend zone. I kind of got that with this. So we have Issa here, ice, delay, suspension. There could also be someone that's freezing you out, ghosting you. Okay, let them be a ghost. But when they come knocking next time, don't be the first to answer, because that goes both ways. So if someone freezes you out, you got better things to focus on. Silent treatment is not a good way for things to move forward. And this is helping you look at another thing, because the suspension piece is telling me that the energy being put in there in that relationship holds you back or holds you in place. And we want you to go into the energy of movement. It's a very cool rune. Okay. But when you feel it, you feel it. And you don't need a tarot card, you don't need a reading, you just know. Your heart skips a beat. Let's see where you're headed. And then we'll pull I actually feel like this is your timeline card, because it's your trajectory. So what timeline is opening up to you if you're open to it? We'll do past, present, future on this. All right. Yes. All right. What can we do to get to that lover's energy? We can step into the sun or the star energy, because it says it's safe to shine. All right. What we need to release in order to get into the lovers. This. Worrying about what people say. That's something I had to tune out this week. Threats. Isn't it interesting that some people will threaten you? Like, if you don't do this, I'm not going to be your friend, or I'm not going to follow you. I'm like, okay, then I guess you don't like me. And it's not my mind to fix. Like, if you threaten me, you have to do this to be accepted by me. Threats are not love. Threats are intimidation. Threats are fear-oriented. Threats are low vibration, right? We don't threaten if we can help it. We can feel threatened, but we shouldn't be threatening people or judging people or saying nasty things to people. If you don't have something nice to say, why say it? What good does that do? I've never understood that. And you don't have to make, it's kind of like, sometimes people feel like they have to say something negative as they leave the door. And it's just like, you could just leave. You don't have to leave a nasty thing as you leave. So in life, leave on better terms. If you're quitting a job, just leave. If you're breaking up, don't have to say everything you didn't like about the person. If you are moving on, moving out, moving up, just allow it to be clean and fresh. If there's something that needs to be said, say it. But if there's something that isn't constructive, don't. Because all it does is taking a jab, which is what we see here, it hurts both parties. So better to just move. Move on, move up, move out. Movement is a key thing, okay? Now, Ten of Swords is also you beating yourself up. I am learning from my perceived failure. I am not a failure. I won't even say it because I don't want to put that in my energy. So I don't believe in failure. I learned from a setback, but it's not really a setback. It was a difficult experience. I am learning, I am growing, I am healing, and that was hard. That's how you can transmute Ten of Swords. Don't burn yourself out. Don't beat yourself up. Don't pay too much mind to the haters. There's always going to be some, and that's going to help you. Kind of reset what's going on in your head because it's like enough is enough, right? Moving that energy will help you move into the King of Pentacles. Now, instead of that other stuff, we have I am wealth, I am abundance, I am open, I am strong, I am. That's where you want to put the energy right now, into the King of Pentacles. You are the King of Pentacles. This is a great time to build, to launch, to develop, and to learn. Because that's all the things that the King of Pentacles would do. And it's a great time to rebuild as well. You're pulling in people that have unconditional love. I mentioned some examples. Like sometimes, it's not always parents. It can be teachers. Like I had a good friend that was just amazingly smart. And then his brother had to come through after him. And they were like, why can't you be more like your brother? What a terrible thing to say to somebody. You just want to help that person be the best version of themselves, right? We see parents do it. We see friends. Like, if you do this, I'll love you. If you don't do this, I won't. Putting conditions on acceptance and love isn't love. So when people do that, just say, that's fine. Okay. Thank you for the clarity. Because I wouldn't have done that to you, but you don't even need to say that. Just say, okay. And move on. Find someone who sees you and loves you and doesn't want you to change yourself. You will find that tribe. You will find that person. You will find that energy. You're already there. By creating the self-acceptance and self-love, it opens up a path for something bigger, better, and brighter. Don't accept less than that acceptance, that unconditional love. But you have to start it from within. I love myself enough to face rejection. I love myself enough to not change who I am because someone else wants me to. I love myself enough to know that I am more than enough and I am this. It's safe for me to shine. It's safe for me to be myself. It is. Just be you. Just do you. And sometimes that means walking the path for a little bit alone, but it looks like there's new people, places, and opportunities that want to come through because the Lover's card is a magnet. But if you've ever played with magnets, you know that you can't force them. Like if you put the wrong side, it flips. So that's basically what we're seeing here is you can't force the magnetism or the attraction. You can't force your own path or you're going to flip around and it will create an unnecessary tower moment. Okay? I saw someone in chat say unconditional love is rare. It is, but you can be the first in your life and in your line to really focus on loving yourself that way. It is, and yet it isn't, because we can all love ourselves unconditionally. And when we love ourselves unconditionally, we increase the chances and the likelihood that we'll find that unconditional love with others. Because then they see it and they're like, okay, I love what you're doing. I love that you love what you're doing. I love that you're unique. I mentioned a couple of like singers that I like. They aren't they are. I can mention the name and people have heard of them, but they're not like so mainstream that everybody knows them. And they made a choice in their creative paths to choose creativity over mainstream. The artist that I mentioned, she learned it from her first album. So she did like this teased up hair and guitar centered music, because this is Tori Amos, and it was called like Why Can't Tori Read, which is a strange name for a band. But anyway, there's like 2 or 3 good songs on it, but the rest of it's just like 80s overproduced stuff. And right after that, she came out with Little Earthquakes, which was as far as you could go in the other direction. She's like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to really pare it down. And then we heard like piano oriented rock on, mainstream TV. She did have like a while when she was on MTV and everything, but like after that, she just started to produce things that she liked. So there are other writers that you can think of that have kind of gone that path of, I'd rather be well-written and obscure than like mainstream and not really doing what I want to do. So in your own path, be yourself. Find that loyal tribe that will follow you, and then know that that's going to be enough. We're at the bonus section. I'm just going to do spirit-led reading here, because I said TBD, and I feel like that's what we need to look at right now. Yeah, Sinead O'Connor was another great example. Yeah, was it Lion and the Cobra? And I forget the album after that where Nothing Compares to You, even though that was a cover. But like all of her work was totally, sometimes to her detriment, because she would speak up, and I remember her tearing up the picture and all that. But like, yeah, you have to be true to yourself, whether that's what you want or not. But like, sometimes we just have to be true to our voices. I actually like Florence and the Machine. She's kind of mainstream, but like not to the point that you hear her all the time. But she consistently puts out good work, her and her band. Okay, so in this moment in time, taking a little bit of a pulse and seeing what we need to focus on for this bonus mini read. Wherever you find yourself right now, we're going to start off with this cute little mouse. So the card came through reversed. This week and today in general, one of the things that might be most difficult for you is focus. I can relate to that sometimes. Conservation of energy, making sure that, remember we had 2 balance cards this week, so I think this ties in really well. The 2 of Pentacles and the 6 of Pentacles. And it was almost like, well, one was like, I think Tuesday, one was towards the end of the week. So you're going to be asked multiple times this week to focus your energy, to conserve, and to balance it out. And a mouse is small. So the modesty piece is interesting. I feel like this is something you can work on, because what we can also do with the I am is you can put a not in it and say, I am not small. I am not insignificant. I matter. I am important. In Swedish, I think inte, you put inte at the end of something or whatever. So wherever you're going to put it, before or after, make sure that that exists. So you are not small. You can focus. And you can conserve a little bit, but there is abundance that's coming through. Mice are tricky, and they do require looking at the fine details. So when we're looking at money, there is a message with mice, and that's to look for places where the money is slipping out. So check your credit card statements, make sure that there are no extraneous charges. Check your debit card as well to make sure that there's nothing that's recurring that you don't recognize. Look at your streaming services, make sure you're actually using them, make sure that the price hasn't crept up to a point that you don't recognize. If you had any sort of special offers or deals, sometimes they go away and things get more expensive. So we're going to look at your budget and plug up those little energy leaks, okay? Because that's what a mouse takes advantage of. It can slide under a door. It can come through the smallest crack. It's very resourceful. So you want to be resourceful like that and then make sure that where the little mice can get into our finances, they go away. We're not feeding the mice, okay? So, okay, like this. 8 of Cups, reverse position. When was the last time you took a break? When was the last time you stepped away from something and got perspective? Do that today, even if for 5 minutes. Better though, if you could do it for longer. Take a walk, take a couple hours. I know not everybody can do that. If you're like me, there's a lot of work ahead of you today, but like take some time, your lunch break today at the very least. Take a break and reflect. This card does a sort of different take on it. Like I wouldn't always ascribe rebirth, but I will honor the illustration in front of us. You can step into something new with the perspective. So the ability to reinvent yourself comes from the perspective. And something, I do ascribe this card to second chances. So this time around, you can see it differently. You can write a different ending if you want to. Here we go again. 6 of Pentacles, different version of it. So from this one, I'll pull the traditional one because it's right here. Okay, so Rider-Waite-Smith, we see someone doling out the coins to the open hands. In this one, you have been cast in the role of this person. You are the person, ostensibly, because we see the people reaching out their hands to you. Not necessarily a bad thing. That tells me that you are doing well. People see that you seem to be like on top of things, so they want to be around you. So you just have to know when to say when to say yes, when to say no, when to ask for help. So once more, balance in the form of conservation is also here. I can give this much now, but that's all. And that's why this card was also, I believe, reversed. So finding your footing and making sure that you're not overextending yourself. The Green Man. I like this version of the Emperor because he's active. He's not sitting on a throne somewhere. He's actually doing something. So I think in this moment, it's important to know your power and to really step into that creative role that we see in this particular illustration. Very cool. And again, knowing that I think one of the most important things this week is to stay focused. So to set in front of you a sort of like tangible goal and guidelines so that you're not feeling overwhelmed could be very, very helpful. Okay. One last card pull, and then we're going to wrap up for today in this bonus section. I'd like to see what you need to know, not what you want to know. What do you need to know? Even if it's tough love. These are very, very closely related. So we have the armadillo here, defense, boundaries, and detachment. And then we have the moon. And this particular illustration in the Lightseers deck shows someone feeling almost overwhelmed and possibly needing to detach from something to create some sort of like protection and defense. Boundaries are important. And in the moon card, there's always a path between the dog and the wolf. There's a lot of noise, a lot of clamoring, but the reason that we have those boundaries is so that the energy of protection when it comes to our heart is present. The moon is also reminding you in relationships to be honest, to stay accountable, to surface up any sort of fears, anxieties, or things that have been ignored. They can't be swept under the rug when the moon comes through. Try not to get overly defensive in conversations like this, or these, I should say, and instead just say, I love you, I care about this relationship, and this is something we need to work on so that we can continue to thrive, something like that. And just know that you're strong enough, because an armadillo is strong. Sometimes they recoil like a, roly-poly bug, but like other times they can put themselves out there a little bit. Okay, those were cool messages. So thank you to everybody who helped us make that bonus round. And I feel like the entire reading, especially the expanded forecast, was kind of benefited by that because I decided to go in a different path. Still do it, but do it differently. And that's part of growth. We don't have to rinse and repeat. Today, I'm going to take a nap, and then I'm going to try to get like 2 or 3 of the monthlies done and hopefully launch some of those tomorrow. And I'll try to get them done this week. We're going to do those also in a more concise way. I'm thinking of doing fewer cards, but kind of like what I did here where we focus on things. So TBD, I have to think my way around that. And then before I get into the final portion, I'm still displaced. They did find that there was mold in my apartment. We're testing to see if the furniture is affected. Thankfully, I got my equipment out, my cards out in time, but here we go again. So I will probably be relocating once or twice more. So thank you for being patient as this all happens and unfolds. And I'll continue to do my work here. So you'll see the background change a few times, but we'll sort this out. I've done this before. So this time I'm fighting a little bit more. And this time I know what my rights are. So stay tuned. Okay, let's meditate. I'd like you to close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath, let go, and imagine yourself in a beautiful setting. Let's imagine ourselves at the beach, the sun shining overhead. Create a circle of light around your body, and within this circle of light, know that you are protected and connected. And as you create this circle, trace it in the sand, imagine that there is this illumination beneath you, almost like a vimana or a disc of light. And this is almost like a chariot that you can go anywhere in your life that you'd like to. See yourself finally untethered from whatever fear, anxiety, or block might have been troubling you prior to this reading. And now see yourself moving, however quickly or slowly your mind wants to move you, towards an intended goal. Feel the warmth, the light, and the radiance that's coming from both above and below, and also connecting in your heart and soul. And imagine now that you could take that energy in your heart and see it at the beginning of, it's almost like a star being born. You see this big, bright flash of light, and it's almost like a wave of energy and sound pushing out in every direction, clearing out people, places, and things that don't belong anymore. And you're starting to create an accretion disc, which is basically this beautiful, it's almost like a ring around your sun, around yourself, where new things are starting to take shape and form, just like the planets would. New people, new jobs, new money, new experiences, better health, whatever it is that you're trying to create. It's starting to spin itself into existence. This week, stay open to the signs and signals that are presenting themselves to you. That was one of the cards that I pulled in the main spread. And know that you are attracting and forming that with your heart and with your head. Remember the powerful words I am, and only put after them words that are positive, aspirational, or supportive. Okay. On the next natural exhale, open your eyes, and briefly we'll look at one final card. Well, there were 2 final cards. So the answer was the Magician in reverse. And with this, it's saying yes, but you have to believe it. So the whole fate thing is, if you can't believe in it, it's harder for other people to see what's there. So focus and faith are the 2 opportunities this week. And in relationships, if you don't feel it, don't fake it. This isn't something where you fake it till you make it. You either feel it or you don't. The supporting card that Spirit threw on the table was the 7 of Pentacles. A lot of the growth and movement is happening beneath the surface. Be patient with yourself, and just be patient in general, because growth happens and takes place sometimes a little slower than we like, but nonetheless, it is happening. Okay? I'm getting the camera ready because Apollo's sleeping on the background. I'm going to pull him up. All right. Yes, buddy. Sorry, your eyes are half asleep there. He's like, Dad, leave me alone. He's hanging out on the couch here. He does like that. Okay. I'd like to take a couple moments to offer thanks and gratitude. But before I do that, a couple of quick notes here. Like I said, I could use your support. The easiest way to show love and support is to subscribe, hit the like button, and share the video using the share button. And then on social media, like restack, retweet, whatever the option is there to put that into your feed or into your story, please do that so people can find this, so that we can bring in people that are ready for development, support, and change. And here's where I'm at on everything. It's the same username that I have here, Nicholas Ashbaugh. You can also go to my website. Right there, you can see it, nicholasashbaugh.com/social media. They'll all be there, but my main URL is this, nicholasashbaugh.com. You can also give back through PayPal on my website, or right here on YouTube, through Super Stickers, Super Chat, etc. And if you want to join my newsletter, you can do that. I very sparingly use it, but when I do, I usually have a good reason. So subscribe to this, and I promise you won't get too many emails on that. All right, now we made it through. Congrats, everybody, for sticking through this and for also bringing your energy here today. I appreciate this, and I wouldn't be here without your love and support. And I'd like to give some gratitude for everybody that showed up, especially for those who gave back and helped me meet the goal today. So let's go there. Fan funding. Let's say hello and thanks to everybody. Okay, so I'd like to extend some gratitude to Ms. Cindy B for 32 months of membership, and thank you, hola, gracias, for coming through from Mexico. Very, very much appreciated. We have Piscean Fire with a bunch of ones after your name, longtime member. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate you as well. Membership and sticker. MPS Lehman, thank you very much. See you every week. I appreciate your sticker today. Yoga Rising, good to see you again. Thank you for the sticker. Jill Sheets, 44 months, get out of town. Thank you so much for your support. That's a long time, and I appreciate your presence here. Kayla, thank you so much. I'm glad you like the different format. And again, like sometimes we do it as expected, especially if there's a lot that needs to come through, or I just feel like it'll work. But after 11 years, we need to change. And honestly, I've changed consistently. I think some people are new to the channel. Like I started with just a Celtic Cross and maybe like a catalyst and an extra card, like a bonus card. And then eventually I put in like a channel message. But like it's changed so much, especially this weekly collective, like from the beginning. If we don't change, we don't grow. So thank you for understanding. Handel, thank you so much. Taksumika, I appreciate your sticker. Anwalk, thank you very much for your sticker and membership. NetCheck41, good to see you again. Thank you for your sticker, for being a member for a long time. I appreciate it. Yolanda, thank you so much for your sticker. Adventures with Me SB, thank you very much for both the sticker and for the membership. Ms. D, 1955, thank you very much for the sticker. Colette, thank you for the sticker and membership. Janae, I think it is, thank you so much for your sticker and membership. I'm glad that this helped with the major life changes. And yeah, getting out of comfort, it's hard, I get it. Shelly, thank you so much for being a member and for giving a sticker. Same to DAS, SAI, Saka, thank you so much. Multiple stickers in a row, much appreciated. And again, thanks for the membership. Heather Freeman, thank you so much for the cute puppy sticker. Colette, good to see you again. Thank you for your sticker and membership. Shelly, thank you again for the sticker and membership. Thank you again. Saka as well for the sticker and membership. And again to NetChick, and again to Anwalk, and again to Saka. Thank you guys. PJ good to see you today. Thanks for your sticker and membership and for contributing so much. Colette, thank you so much. And I'm glad that you're all in on doing something fun. Yay. Daz, thank you very much again. QZ422, thanks for the sticker and for being a longtime member. Thank you also to Sam Murphy for your encouragement on the changes. Changes necessary, right? And I think we found a happy medium. Like I can do what I did today where it's a little bit of both. Thank you again to, I'm just going to say the last portion of it, Saka for the sticker and membership. Colette, thank you again for the sticker and membership, and the unicorn and the rainbow. Falcon Fan, thank you so much for your sticker created by Deanne. Thank you for your sticker as well. Suzanne Vanderlaan, thank you for your sticker and for being a member. And wow, 63 months. Michelle Heather 1680, much appreciated. Been a while catching your live. I'm glad that you could see it. 5:30 a.m. is early. I totally understand. But thank you for watching in New Zealand. I really appreciate it. 5 years. Thanks for that. I wouldn't be here without long-time people like you. So basically since the pandemic, that's a long time. Thank you, Anne, for your support in this reading today, for the multiple stickers. Hey, Jamie, good to see you. Thanks for your sticker, for your support. I appreciate you. Donna, thank you very much for your sticker and for being a member. And again, Jamie, thanks for being a member too. NetChick, thank you for the sticker and membership. Georgia, thank you for the sticker and membership. Colette, thank you again. Michelle, I can't read the rest because it got cut off, but thank you for being #1 contributor today. Thank you for being such a long member. I can see all the little spikes on that crown and the little gem. So I know that's a long time. That's over 5 years. So thank you. Star Drops, thank you so much for your sticker and membership. Natalia, or no, I'm sorry, Natalie, sorry. Thank you for your sticker. Heather W, thank you for the sticker and membership. NetChick41, congrats on 1 year of membership. It's so good to have you, and I appreciate that level of support. Iced Shaken Espresso sounds good. Good name. Welcome to the brand new member here. I think I've seen your name before, but thanks for becoming a member. Jeannie, thanks for the membership. Also long time with the little gem in the center. Appreciate you, and thank you for the sticker. Created by Deanne, good to see you again. Thank you for the sticker. Welcome back. I see you just renewed it. List, is it List? List with LaRock, thank you so much for 50 months. 50 months, wow. And I'm glad that you like the intuitive part of this. And clearly you've been with me for a long time, so thank you. Mary Jones, 4746. Thanks for almost a year of membership. And I'm glad you enjoyed the reading today. Much appreciated. Let's see. I'm not taking questions right now, but we might do a bonus one this week. So thank you so much, Denise, for your contribution and for being a member. And my little Margie, thank you for 55 months. So many 50 plus people this month. I really, really appreciate the long-term members and your support. Okay, let me see if I have any other things that sometimes I can gift back. I'm going to see if I have any left. Yes, okay. So for those who stuck around, thank you. I just gifted 5 memberships to all of you for staying for the roll call. And thank you, as always, to Dakota for your help in moderating today. And thanks to Apollo for holding space in the background. And I wish all of you an amazing week ahead. Take special care of yourselves. And big love from me for all of you that support the change and growth on this channel as well. Until I see you next, take care. Bye-bye.